Picture this. You are standing at the front door of your own home. Your suitcase is sitting on the steps outside. Your husband is inside, laughing with another woman. And his mother is standing right behind him, smiling, like she just won something she had been quietly planning for a very long time. Now think about 11 years. 11 years of cooking his meals, ironing his shirts, crying alone in bathroom stalls after every failed pregnancy test, then walking back out and pretending everything was fine. Swallowing your pain at every family dinner while his sisters whispered and his mother looked at you like a broken machine she had been tolerating far too long. 11 years of trying, of hoping, of quietly bleeding on the inside while smiling on the outside. And then, right when fate was finally about to do something beautiful in your life, they threw you out. With nothing, not even a proper goodbye. But here is what they did not know. When the wrong people break you, fate has a way of rebuilding you into something they will never recognize or reach. This is Eleanor's story. Stay with me until the end. Eleanor Calloway was the only daughter of David Calloway, a quiet, brilliant man who loved her more than anything in this world. When David passed, Eleanor carried his warmth everywhere she went. Kind blue eyes, a laugh that could fill a room, a heart so full of love it sometimes felt like a burden, because she kept giving it to people who did not know what to do with it. At 26, she married Raymond Hayes. Raymond came from old money. The Hayes family estate had been in the family for generations. Raymond's apartment in one wing, his mother Margaret's just across the courtyard. Close enough that Margaret could knock before breakfast. Close enough that Eleanor never, not for a single day of 11 years, felt truly in charge of her own home. She had walked into a life already fully arranged, and Margaret intended to keep it that way. Margaret was a tall, sharp woman who wore pearls even to the grocery store. She smiled at Eleanor on the wedding day and said, "Welcome to the family, darling." She did not mean it. Margaret had one obsession, a grandson, an heir. And every year without a baby was another year she made Eleanor feel like she was failing at the only thing that mattered. At family gatherings, Raymond's sisters would offer that special cruelty disguised as sympathy. "Oh, Eleanor," Lisa said once, patting her hand. "Don't worry, some women just aren't meant to be mothers." She smiled when she said it. She meant it like a knife. Eleanor and Raymond tried everything. 5 rounds of IVF, each more heartbreaking than the last. By the 5th failure, she sat in her car outside the clinic for an hour, staring at nothing. She did not cry that day. She had simply run out of tears. When the doctors finally said, "Mrs. Hayes, we have done everything we can. Conceiving will not be possible for you," Raymond drove home in silence. Eleanor stared out the window and quietly broke in too. But she stayed because she loved him, because she had made a promise, because somewhere in that stubborn heart of hers, she still believed fate had not written the final chapter yet. Then, about 7 weeks before everything changed, Eleanor received a call. "Ms. Hayes, this is Dr. Daniel Ashford from the Luminary Institute. We believe there is a new protocol that may give you a real chance at conceiving naturally." Hope felt dangerous, like touching a flame you already knew would burn you. But something deep inside her said yes. When Daniel reviewed her full history, every test, every IVF cycle. He saw something years of other doctors had missed. The painful periods brushed off as normal, the chronic pelvic pain, the failed implantations. It all pointed to one thing: endometriosis, a condition affecting 1 in 10 women, yet taking an average of 7 to 10 years to diagnose because the pain is so often dismissed. Every round of IVF had been fought inside a body silently working against her, and no one had ever told her why. "This was never your fault," Daniel told her. "You were never the problem. You were simply never given the right diagnosis." His treatment, surgery to remove the disease from the root, followed by targeted medication, gave her the best possible chance to conceive naturally. Eleanor followed every instruction faithfully. She did not tell Raymond. Hope had become something she carried alone. One evening she came home feeling different, lighter, like something quiet had shifted inside her. They had dinner, talked the way they used to, and later they were close in the way married people sometimes are. Not out of passion, but out of habit, out of the memory of who they used to be. It was ordinary. Nothing about that evening felt like a miracle. But sometimes, the most life-changing things happen in the quietest, most unremarkable hours. A few weeks later, the doctor smiled at her results. "Ms. Hayes, you are pregnant." Pregnant. After 11 years. After 5 failures. After being told it was impossible. She walked home with her hand on her stomach, heart so full she could barely breathe. She was going to tell Raymond. She imagined finally being enough. She never got the chance. Her suitcase was on the steps, divorce papers on top. Through the window, Raymond laughing with a woman she had never seen. Vanessa, young, confident, already at home in Eleanor's kitchen, and Margaret right beside them, wearing the same smile from the wedding day, the one that never quite reached her eyes. Eleanor's hand moved to her stomach. She wanted to say, "Wait, I am carrying your child. Right now. I am carrying new life, and you are throwing me away." But something stopped her. Maybe dignity. Maybe fate whispering, "Not here. You are worth more than begging at this door." So she turned around, picked up her suitcase, and walked. She walked until the streets grew quieter, stopped on a sidewalk, set her suitcase down, and stared at her own reflection in a shop window. Tired, betrayed, pregnant, and alone, but still standing. That was when a sleek black Mercedes slowed and stopped. Sir William Ashford was 67, a man who had built a quiet empire through patience and principle. He was being driven home when something made him glance out the window and see her. A woman alone with a suitcase, staring at her reflection